Hello and welcome to Musical Musings, a place where musicians at St. Thomas the Apostle Hollywood muse about music. Today's musician is Sarah Hensley, alto and beloved friend in the St. Thomas Choir.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for being here and doing this.
My pleasure, for sure.
How long have you been a parishioner at St. Thomas?
Well, I came to St. Thomas in 1987, and I was a parishioner from the beginning. I am a cradle Episcopalian. I had pretty much been away from church for a number of years due to college, marriage, children, a husband on tour. And St. Thomas was my turning point where I came back to the church of my youth, and I came here to join the choir because I'd been singing in different choral groups, singing in the chorus and doing solo work for a number of years in Los Angeles, and some of my friends were in the choir at St. Thomas. So that's why I said, hey, it's my church anyway. So I came back. And then arriving at the church, the architecture was same kind of Gothic architecture that our home church in Fort Wayne, Indiana had. So I felt very much at home immediately. And back in those days, there were very few women in the choir, sometimes just me.
Wow.
And that time in the old choir was at the height of the AIDS epidemic, and I grew and I came. I learned about AIDS at St. Thomas. I had no idea. I was home with little kids, and sadly, we certainly lost at least 6 choir members over that time period, and we sang many, many requiems. There are many, many boys who came to St. Thomas because they weren't accepted at their own churches, and or maybe they weren't accepted by their parents. And I felt immediately that there were times when I was regarded as a mother figure, a parent figure. There weren't so many women at St. Thomas. And I was very comfortable in that role and happy to serve in that way. Although certainly I wasn't appointed to do anything. Our previous choir master, Jim Keltner, had put on Choir Follies. It was a variety show that we had to raise money once a year. And he was a public school teacher, and he put on big shows at his big school where he taught. And I brought along a couple of posters from the Choir Follies. We had more than 2, but here's one. And
Is that Jim's head on the Oscar?
And Tom made these posters, as it turned out.
Great.
Anybody could have, but as it turned out, he did. And this one was songs from the Oscars. And this one had our parishioner Hano on the poster.
There's one of those in the choir room.
Yeah. And Hano would come in drag every year and do something. And one of my particular favorites was the year when he did a duet of country songs with Len Leatherwood. She can sing. She was a choir member.
Yeah, I heard that. She has the perfect name for a country singer, too.
Doesn't she? Yes.
Len Leatherwood.
Today, I really miss being in choir and coming to church.
Me too.
And I miss every single one of my fellow choristers and my many friends at St. Thomas. I can't say how much support I received at different times when I wasn't well, and I received support from my friends at St. Thomas.
What is your musical background, Sarah?
Well, I have a degree in voice from Indiana University School of Music, and it is a Bachelor of Music degree, not a Bachelor of Arts degree with a music major. It's a Bachelor of Music degree. And as I said, I certainly sung in choirs around Los Angeles almost from the moment we got here, but always I've sung, and somewhere around the house I have an old 8mm movie that my father took of my mother and I sitting on the sofa, and we were singing together, and I was about 4.
Oh, wow. When did you first start singing in a choir? When was your first choir experience?
I started singing in choir, I would say, in the 5th grade.
Which choir was that?
That was in Fort Wayne, and that was at my home church there. In the junior choir, I was in the junior choir, and I sang in that choir until I left for college. With all the different kinds of musical groups that we had in college, you had to be in a musical group as a degree requirement. So I was in a group, an all-women's group called the Bells of Indiana. I was in a mixed group called the Indiana Hoosiers. I was in a chamber group, which the first semester did ancient music, Renaissance music, Palestrina, things of that nature. And then after that, we did contemporary music. Oh, and also, of course, in university, I was in various operas, and De Meister singer for one. I was an apprentice. That was a smaller group than De Meister singer. And then I was in 5 productions of Parsifal. I spent 5 years getting my 4-year degree because I got married and had a child. The last production of Parsifal that I was in, I thought maybe I'd be excused because I was pregnant. But oh no, I had to climb up to the top balcony to sing in that choir for Parsifal. And the rest of the time I was either a flower maiden or a messenger. So being a messenger was pretty good. That was a quartet, as I recall. And after college, maybe after my junior year in college, I spent the summer on the East Coast in summer stock doing with a chorus contract for Tent Theater. And we had 4 theaters near Buffalo, New York, Wallingford, Connecticut, Framingham, Massachusetts, near Boston, and then in Rhode Island, West Warwick, it was near Providence. And we did 3 shows, maybe a gypsy, showboat, and what was the other one? Most Happy Fellow. No, that was a university. Anyway, there were 3 shows, and you would learn the show, sing for a week in one location, go to the next location. You do a week of the show in each of the 4 locations, and in the last location, in the Rhode Island location, you'd learn the upcoming show, which you would perform it back up in New York.
What are some of your favorite pieces? Do you have any favorites or hymns or anything that we do at St. Thomas?
Oh, lots of them. It's hard for me to really say the titles. Drop, Drop, Slow Tears. Many of the communion hymns are extra special to me. And we certainly have done many, many wonderful anthems, and I'm impressed by the fact that we sing not only in Latin, but in other languages as well. And I like the special masses that we've done for Easter and for Lent and for Advent and Christmas, Easter. The music, not only do we get to perform some of your musical works, but just the music that we do now is so wonderful, and I enjoy it.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
My only real complaint is sometimes we move over to the British versions of hymns, and oftentimes they're not in a friendly key for me.
That's right. They are not written for altos, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways that you've served at St. Thomas?
Yes. Yes, indeed. I was on the vestry twice and was secretary of the vestry. I helped make pancakes for Shrove Tuesday. I was the first one, I believe, who put chocolate chips in the pancakes.
Great. What have you done to keep you occupied since college?
Since college. Well, I've been in all these musical groups. I've taken voice lessons here and there at USC and from Hollywood voice teachers, and I've managed to be in all those musical groups while raising two children, one of whom had serious disabilities, and I've supported my husband, his career.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to our St. Thomas friends?
Well, just keep hanging on, everyone, and supporting St. Thomas as best you can, because we need it, and our own need. We have our own needs, which certainly require us to have our relationship with God who is always with us. And we at a time like this is something we really have to depend on and nourish as best we can. That's a special place at St. Thomas. And I hope that I am there till the very end.
Thank you for watching. Please be sure to follow us on social media for upcoming content. Until next time, God bless and take care.